You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Don't even think about it. Just shut up. Here we go. Who am I braiding? Hey, everybody. We have a special treat for you because
Rolling.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm going to go walk into traffic. You're going to have to hold auditions for the fourth member of the show.
Jared Listenerman, you're up.
Because I can't.
He's been waiting forever.
The rampant disrespect has become too much for me to handle. So I'm going to lay down and let a street sweeper sweep me up, cleanse me off into my death.
Fitting that you would be killed off by one of the many characters of Mordor.
Street sweeper, make me a mess. Help me to die and to leave all this class.
All right. Let's.
So, as I was saying, we have a special show for you tonight because we're recording on Friday night. That's right. It's not the usual Thursday recording, so things are going to be completely different, yet absolutely the same. Let that sink in. Breathe it in. Enjoy the flavor. Savor the flavor. Laser my flavor. I'm Ransom the Madman, and I'm here to introduce you to the other three gentlemen who comprise the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast along with myself. The three better pieces of the pie, if you will. I'm the piece of pie that you get at the end that's like mostly crumbles and is usually falling apart. And wind blown as I'm wont to be. But in any case, Poot the Bard is here, Tiger Bomb Tom is here, Beef the Legend is here.
We here.
And we have a lot to talk about. We're going to start off, because I was told so, after one of my suggestions was blatantly poo-pooed, and then I was told it doesn't really matter, we can do whatever you want. But I know goddamn well that's not true. So, shut your snake oil salesman up. I don't know what that means. I had a thought and then I got lost in the ether. So, insert random insult here, Poot. Let's edit that in post.
Okay, you got it. It will absolutely be edited.
Thanks, buddy. I don't think it's going to be. I think he's just lying to me. I think he's flat out lying to my ear.
I would won't ever not lie to you.
There's too many double negatives in there. Now my nose is bleeding. So
you sound like you're comprised of NyQuil and sadness.
Fucking guys.
It is what it is, man. Weirdly enough, it is getting better. The fits, the coughing fits are getting less and few and far between. But when they happen, boy howdy, they happen. But yeah, everything's clearing up, and everybody who had it did the thing where they go, "Oh, yeah, that cough and congestion lasted about 3 weeks for me," and I'm like, "Thanks, cool, that man, solidarity, real nice." I'm gonna go throw up now, but that beside the point. Despite having that cough, that nasty cough, Mania weekend was still a pretty big fucking success, I would say. I mean, all things considered, there were many, hurdles and bumps in the road, but we all came out of Mania weekend good, correct? We're all still intact. We're all still good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. It wasn't ideal for me personally, but on a professional level, on a wrestling level,
dreaming of revelry.
It was unmatched, I'd say. It was pretty. I couldn't design a better WrestleMania weekend. I would say.
I mean, yeah, like, I don't know about you, Ransom and Tom, but Beef and I spent, and we're gonna get to actual Mania, like WrestleMania, but the like all of the independent shows and the smaller, like organized shows, not one of them was a dud. Not one of the. If I had to say one of them was like a you could watch it or not, I would say Bloodsport. Bloodsport was kind of except for the main event. Timothy Thatcher is an insane badass.
I'd probably agree with that sentiment. And that's kind of what you get with WrestleMania weekend. Shows are all over the place. You get Sport, you get Ring of Honor, you get Impact and New Japan, you get Joe Janela doing some crazy shit, and you mix them all together, and somehow we end up with just about 48 hours of just dynamic wrestling to talk about.
Absolutely dynamic wrestling. The highlight of it, well, there were a lot of highlights. Just seeing like people working the way that they did, like El Hijo del Vikingo. He worked how many matches? Beef? Seven matches that weekend.
I think before Bloodsport they said he worked like 3, and then he worked Bloodsport, he worked Impact, he worked Ring of Honor. And I think he worked Joe Janela.
He did work Joe, yeah, because that was the one with Mike Bailey.
Yeah,
with Mike Bailey.
So yeah, he worked, and I think he probably worked FB's Big Gay Brunch too. So yeah, he got some screen time. That kid's gonna be a star. In case you didn't know, this is the guy who had that match with Kenny Omega a couple weeks ago that was 5 stars, and yeah, boy howdy, he's gonna be an absolute fucking just a fucking shooting star, motherfucker.
Bar none. And like there are some guys also who worked, like Commander, who we saw on this past week's Dynamite. Commander was really good. Mike Bailey did a great job, and he worked a lot of matches as well. Yeah, Joey Janela's Spring Break was a lot of fun. It was good.
Don't you mean Speedball Mike Bailey?
I do, but I was trying to play ball and trying to be have professional decorum. I think we can all infer that Speedball Mike Bailey is Mike Bailey. But anyway, I just like the name Speedball. I think that's a very cool name. I think that's a very cool ring name. And his presentation,
and it works for him because
he is.
It works for him because he acts like he's always on a fucking speedball, man. He comes out, he's like, "Yeah, man, I had a bunch of coke. Let's go!" Ah!
And he looks like an '80s Karate Kid. Like if you bought the Karate Kid action figure at the dollar store and then wished upon a star for it to become a real boy, that's what Mike Bailey looks like.
Yes, the Kung Fu Child.
Yes,
the Kung Fu Child toy from Family Dollar.
It's seriously, he looks a lot like that. But the one of the highlights, short of all those, we could talk about all those matches, but just trying to get to Mania proper. The one thing that we do have to say is we got to wish Dante Martin a quick recovery, because holy fuck, that might be one of the worst injuries I've ever seen in my life. For in a wrestling match. For those who don't know, during Ring of Honor's ladder match for the Ring of Honor tag titles, Penta did a Canadian Destroyer, or just a power bomb? No, Canadian Destroyer. Canadian Destroyer off of a ladder in the ring, and you can go watch the clip. I'm trying to just simplify this. Through 3 tables. But the problem is, Dante Martin, who he was given the Canadian Destroyer to, did not really hit the tables. He kind of slid off of them. And as he landed, he over-rotated and landed on his leg. And he kept moving, and boy, his leg did not. And when they showed when it showed on there, he was facing one direction and his foot was facing the opposite. It was horrific. And this shows that we tend to forget that because these guys do these fantastical things that are incredible and amazing and death defying and everything like that, and we're just like, wow, how do they do this night in and night out? Well, sometimes they don't. So we just want to wish Dante Martin and Top Flight a quick return, and Dante Martin a quick recovery there. Go watch the GIF for yourself for the video if you must, but be prepared. It is kind of gross. But
I don't even think that was the best match of the night.
No.
Like Vikingo versus Commander was really good.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, man. I really liked Eddie Kingston and Claudio.
It was
that
good.
Match was brutal. It told a really good story.
Yep.
My only gripe is that I think that the wrong guy won.
Yeah.
Eddie was super over, and now I mean, this could be a long-term thing, but Eddie was super over, and BCC is definitely becoming like heels. So I think that it was a very smart time to take the belt off of him, and they did not do that, which is sad. But other than that, I mean, it was a tremendous match.
Absolutely, and Eddie Kingston, he needs that one huge victory though. He needs that soon. But regardless, Mania. I think Ransom summed it up really well in his message. I can't remember what you said about night 2, but you said #wet for night 1. And then what'd you say for night 2?
Dry.
Dry. Oh yeah, dry for night 2. Wet for night 1, dry for night 2. And I think that kind of sums it up. I know I've kind of like grabbed a hold of this and everything, but like, what did you guys think of this Mania on the whole? We could break it down by day 1 and day 2, or night 1 and night 2. But what did you guys think of Mania as a whole? Like, Tom, what did you think of Mania on the whole?
On a whole, I thought it was really, really good. I mean, the majority of the matches on night 1, I felt like I was more excited for than night 2. I don't know, like like, and this isn't. I'm sure we're gonna get into like the main event stuff or whatever, but like, I don't know. I mean, night 1 had a few more interesting matches than night 2 did. Let me try to remember, like, because it's just all a big Mania blur. So like, I mean, Austin Theory and Cena was really good. Seth and Logan Paul was good. The men's showcase match, the tag match, was better than the women's. So like, that was better from night 1 than compared to night 2. The women's title match was better on night 1 than night 2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It just
I think you're both great.
They were both good. I'm not saying night 2 was bad as far as Asuka and Belair, but I'm just saying I enjoyed Rhea and Charlotte more. I think they told a better story in the ring. And granted, neither one of the matches had much of a story leading up to them, but with Rhea and Charlotte, you had that little bit of history beforehand, so there was kind of a story, not much, but more so than Bianca and Asuka there was. But I mean, night 2 had some bangers for sure, like the triple threat match, the fucking Hell in a Cell match. I mean, and surprisingly, the one match I was least excited for, Brock and Omos, it still wasn't like anything to write home about. Like, it's not going to be some sort of Meltzer 5-star match, but for what it was and what it needed to be, it got the job done.
It was better than it had any right to be.
Yeah,
which I think on the whole, I think is the theme of this Mania. Like, on paper, I think that the matches were good, but there wasn't a lot of build up, and I think that they were better than had any right to write. But Ransom, go ahead. I got a lot to say. I don't want to explode all over. So Ransom, go ahead.
I mean, I think Poot and Tom summed up my thoughts. I thought it was a good Mania. I thought, I definitely think night 1 was better than night 2, but as a whole, it's probably one of the best ones that I've seen in a long while. Not a whole lot to really complain about.
But not a lot to like write home about.
I disagree with that statement entirely.
Well, not that dramatically, Beef. Sorry, Ransom. Continue.
You guys was want to fucking go, or
no.
That's it. I mean, I think it was good. I think it was a good Mania.
I would put this absolutely top 7.
Wow.
I think. Oh, absolutely. This is so like, if there have been 40 Manias, I absolutely think that this is within the top 20% of any Mania. So that immediately puts it a berth in the top 10. I think that had there been better results on night 2, we would have been talking about a top 5, potentially top 3 Mania of all time.
I would agree. if night 2 was as good as night 1, but that's why I think Ransom. I think Ransom summed it up the best because he said it was good.
Well, that's the thing, man. I'm gonna be a contrarian. I think that night 2 was just as good as night 1. I think the problem with night 2 was that we had 2 champions win that have held the belt for 300 for a year, over a year or more. And when you factor in Walter, who's over 260 days, like Gunther, excuse me, like you had 3 incumbent champions. Gunther, I'm fine with because I don't think that his shtick is getting stale.
No,
Bianca's in that poot. I swear to Christ, Bianca's in that yellow, like gray area where she's in like the yellow and it's like the caution. Okay, Roman is like into the red. Like, hey, something needs to happen. Something should have happened. I don't understand why Roman won. That is and like everybody's gonna say, oh, it's because Vince McMahon was in Gorilla. Yeah. I read 3 stories this week that said that Roman Reigns winning was always the plan, probably because of that Vince McMahon influence. But Triple H with the soundbite. Oh, the story continues. This is just chapter 1 of the story. H. Here's the thing, buddy. Like, I respect you as a booker. I think you're a smart man, but I think you made a bad decision here. Because I don't see them having the patience to wait until next year at WrestleMania to take the title off of Roman. I could be wrong, but I just don't see that happening. So, inevitably, they're probably going to give Cody one or both of those belts sometime that's not WrestleMania. And that's a big deal. Congratulations, Cody. You're probably going to win the title at some point this year. Awesome. Great. Probably Detroit at SummerSlam. Maybe, Crown Jewel. Who knows? Or whatever they're calling it. Anyway, the point is, I think it's a slight to Cody, and I think it's a slight to Dusty. Cody winning the title on the greatest stage of them all absolutely was something that needed to happen to preserve his legacy and, more importantly, to preserve his dad's legacy. This Sunday, they have a special on A&E for Dusty Rhodes, and I thought to myself, man, how cool would that be to have a special on the American Dream when his kid just won the belt? Nope, pissed that away for something that is stale. I'm in the weeds. My point here, yes, absolutely night 1 is better than night 2. Anyone that doesn't have a head injury is not going to argue that. I think the matches on night 2 were just as good. My only problem with night 2, with the exception of the women's tag match, which got kind of fucked up, but the exception on night 2 was the results. That's all I really wanted to say.
So I have something that I mentioned to Ransom on Tuesday because inevitably, Reek or somebody brought up thoughts about Mania and we started talking about it a little bit. And as far as the whole Roman and Cody thing, I know you don't want to hear that there's a bigger story to tell, but think about it like this. Take the fact that it's Cody out of the equation, okay? If you had, generally speaking, somebody that's debuted at the previous year's WrestleMania, and they had a couple pay-per-view matches or whatever against somebody, then they got injured, then they went away, came back, won the Royal Rumble, and had maybe like 3 exhibition matches between Rumble to current Mania. Would you realistically think that they would be somebody who could win a world heavyweight title?
Now, to be fair, let's look at this from a different angle, because I see what you're trying to do.
Yeah, well, answer that question first.
I am.
If it were anybody else but Cody.
Yes, because Cody tore his fucking chest muscle
Yeah.
off the bone and was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put on a great show for everybody. And he went out and put on probably a 4 to 5 star match with Seth Rollins that night in Hell in a Cell. In Hell in a Cell with a torn pec. It's not like this guy, tore his fucking calf walking to the ring, Shane McMahon, or it's not like he had another stupid injury. This dude was training, and by all accounts, he was probably going to get one of those titles before WrestleMania. He hurt himself while training. Hold on. And then put his own injured self at potentially more risk by proceeding with the main event. Do I think that guy deserves the world title? Hell fucking yes, I do.
But you never answer. But you didn't answer my original question. If it were anybody else but Cody, if it were anybody
in that exact
else,
same scenario that tore their pec on the way to being a main eventer, was out for 6 months, won the Royal Rumble after competing with the torn pec and showing that they are a true star, abso-fucking-lutely.
Okay.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Now,
okay.
The scenario that Beef just posed, you know what that rings echoes of? Going above and beyond, saying yes, working hurt and injured, and sick and tired. You know who that rings of?
Don't.
I was going to say the Brooklyn Brawler, but you're right. It was CM Punk.
All right. Let's not
I'm just
get on
saying.
that diatribe.
Listen. I'm not getting on a diatribe. I'm saying I'm trying to stand behind Beef on this one because you go above and beyond. You do your thing. You bust your ass. You work hurt. You do all this. You show that you're that guy. And we thought Vince is gone. Vince is gone. Maybe this will actually pay off. This is showing the grit and determination and everything of Cody. And yes, Tom, I agree with you. Is there another story to tell? There is, but it remains to be seen if it's going to be good. That's the problem. This was good. This was set up. This was built properly. Was it a long build? But like it was built. It was a Cinderella story. It was a feel-good moment. And they didn't pull the trigger because they want Roman to get that 1,000-day mark.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. Not more than a couple months ago at Elimination Chamber, whenever Sami didn't win the title against Roman, I remember somebody being, it should have been Sami, and was all pissed off. Now it's like, well, it should have been Cody, Well, should have been Sami or should have been Cody? My point in the long run is that there is a bigger story to tell, and whatever happened to that possibility that we were talking about, like maybe Jey Uso is going to be the one to take it off Roman. There's still the crumbling of the bloodline that has to happen.
Here's the thing. Like you have Endgame as the biggest movie in the fucking history of the box office. It's a great fucking movie. You open it at like a fucking like Cinema 10 on like a small screen, it's not going to do as well. Whereas if you open it in a big fucking like IMAX dome around the world. My point is that, you know what, like Cody deserved this, or Sami. I'll even go that route. Either one of them deserved this platform, WrestleMania, to dethrone Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has done amicably. He has adequately. He has done well with the position that he's in. The position that he's in being a guy who's held the title, where we're starting to talk names like Bruno Sammartino and Bob Backlund. Like, that's tough to do, especially in this fucking TikTok, Twitter, Instagram age, where everybody's got their phone and the fucking news cycle is 10 seconds.
So that's only equates to adequately? I think he's done more than an adequate job.
Well, the point is, and I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, that storyline was dead in the water before Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is gone. That storyline's dead in the water. And guess what? Every motherfucker out there that was bitching and crying about Brock Lesnar, I don't like Brock Lesnar being a world champion and holding them titles hostage year to year to year to. Well, guess fucking what? Roman Reigns has a lighter schedule than Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was a legit phenomenon, a legit fighter. Roman Reigns is a guy that they've been trying to manufacture for a decade. And he's pulling the same kind of shit that Brock Lesnar did. Yes, you know what? We all pop for the Tribal Chief storyline because Paul Heyman makes it great. Sami Zayn made it great. But now you don't have Sami Zayn anymore. Like, I don't think it's got legs. I'm over it. I am officially over the island of relevancy.
Well, the one last thing I'll say to it, besides the fact that there's a bigger story to tell, and Poot, you're not wrong, Poot. Whether it remains to be seen.
Okay, so Tom, hold on. No, I don't want to step on your point here.
You are.
But I want you keep saying there's a bigger story to tell. What's the bigger story, Tom?
We're gonna find out.
No,
we don't know yet.
In your mind, what's the bigger story? Because to me, like the only bigger story that there could be is Cody winning next year. And if we have to sit through another stale year of Roman Reigns winning every single title match with help from outside, I'm going to lose it. Now you may make your point. That's all I want to say.
May I, Your Highness?
You may.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. The last thing I was going to say is what sounds more impressive, beating somebody who's previously been undefeated or beating somebody who's been previously undefeated and held the title for 1,000 days.
I hear you. But like,
and again, I keep reiterating it, and I was saying that I agreed with Poot that we won't know what the bigger story is or whether or not it's going to be good until we get to there. But that is the reason, whether we agree with it or not. Like H said, there is more of a story to tell with this. If you have Cody win and you have Cody go over, the entire bloodline story is just done right then and there. There still could be a little bit more to it. Is it going to be the right call? Maybe, maybe not. Time will tell. We don't know. But everybody that's immediately just up in arms like, oh, fuck it. They don't know what they're doing anymore. Oh, fuck it. It's going to be terrible. Could be 3 months from now saying, okay, well, you know what? I get it. Because hindsight's always 20/20. I'm saying just give it a chance.
Okay, but here's the thing. You from the future shows up and says, hey, bet 21. And you're like, well, all right, 21 black is going to be a winner for me. But the money could be in the chase. So if I pass up this 21, I could make even more money later. Or you could bust, go home in a fucking taxi, and get drunk. Cody winning absolutely would have been a big deal, a big moment, a big WrestleMania moment. They like to say WrestleMania moment. They like making that a thing, WrestleMania moments. Cody Rhodes winning the title would have been right up there with the boyhood dream of Shawn Michaels. The son of a plumber winning the WWE title for the first time at WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all, the biggest crowd of all time, was an absolute hit. It could not miss. And yes, maybe he would have lost the title in 3 months. Maybe he would have lost in 6 months. Maybe it would have been a Drew McIntyre-esque reign, but he still would have had that moment. That is absolute money. Now you're saying, which now you're just parroting a line from WWE Brass, which I've heard before, which I've heard from all of my bosses at every work ever. Oh, well, it's a work in progress. It's going to get better. Will it though? Because you had a fantastic out. You had something when you could have said, this would make this year's WrestleMania. This would make the top 5 WrestleMania of all time. This would be one of the biggest moments in WrestleMania history in front of the biggest crowd in WrestleMania history. And you decide to pass on it because there's a larger story. That's my impotence, is that I don't think the gamble on this on this bigger story is worth passing up on a guarantee.
Okay. I have had my intro trampled upon like grapes at a winery, and I've kept my mouth fairly shut so far, so you're going to fucking listen to me. First off, I need to know, before I go on this rant and am dead wrong, where, and this isn't snarky, this is complete legit question because I don't know and I'm not at a computer to look it up myself. Where did The Rock win his first title?
I think that was rock bottom. I'm not 100% sure.
It was not at a Mania, though. Is that right?
Right.
Where did Kurt Angle win his first title?
Hard pressed to tell you.
Again, not snark, but I don't think it was at a Mania. Right?
Rock won Survivor Series, by the way, 98. Deadly Games.
Okay. Could someone tell me where Kurt Angle won his first title?
Not off the top of my head, but if you give me a minute, I'll look it up.
In any case, I'm fairly certain his first
No
title
Mercy
win was
2000.
Okay.
Great game.
So, yeah, it was. So, two of arguably the all-time greats did not win their first title at WrestleMania. The Rock, not to discount Kurt Angle, The Rock went on to become one of the biggest stars that the WWE has ever seen. Not Hollywood, not movie-wise, strictly in wrestling. One of their biggest moneymakers, one of their biggest stars, one of their most popular people. And he did not win at a WrestleMania. He didn't win his first title at a WrestleMania. I know there are plenty that did. Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, yes, the list I'm sure is long. But two of the all-time greats in Kurt Angle and The Rock did not win their first title at WrestleMania. They didn't have their WrestleMania first ever title win moment. And they still went on to have historic careers and to do some of the greatest things in the WWE, WWF that anyone has ever done. I mean, there are a lot of great people out there now, and there have been a lot of great people since. But damn it all, Kurt Angle and The Rock, those are two big-ass names to live up to. And they didn't win their first titles at WrestleMania. So Beef's argument for storytelling, okay, I can back you in that corner and say, like, okay, maybe the Bloodline Roman Reigns storyline was getting stale. Maybe story-wise, Cody winning was the right thing. But as far as the argument of he should have won because it was WrestleMania and he should have had his first win there and his big WrestleMania moment, there are plenty that did not. There are plenty that did not win their first big title at WrestleMania and had great careers. So I think that in and of itself is irrelevant. I don't necessarily think that that is a big travesty. If Cody wins the belt, if he goes on to become a big star for them and a big money draw and a big fucking deal, then he's done his legacy well. He's done his father's name well. I'm withholding my judgment on this until I see what the more story to tell actually is. If that's just corporate bullcrap and it winds up that the more story to tell is a big old fat dud, then I can come back to this moment and say, okay, the naysayers were right. Cody absolutely should have won and they should have ended it here. But I don't know what the more story to tell is. I have no idea what that's going to be. So I can't fully poo-poo this moment now. I will, however, poo-poo the Hell in the Cell outcome. There's no need at this juncture, for as long as the feud between Judgment Day and Edge has gone on, there was no need for Edge to go over. I know everybody likes to say, well, it's WrestleMania, people want to see the good guy win, you want to send the fans home happy, yada, yada, boo-boo-hoo. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But if Edge was in his prime, if this was the very beginning of the Rated R Superstar, okay. I'm okay with Edge winning. But Edge is in the twilight of his career. He's even said, I don't know how much more I've got left. It's not much. He's a Hall of Famer. Finn Balor should have, for all intents and purposes, won that match because there were 3 out of the 4 members of Judgment Day that got a match at WrestleMania. The 4th didn't even. Damian Priest didn't even get a match at WrestleMania. Shame on the WWE for that. But Dominic lost, again, to an old man, a Hall of Famer, a guy who has pretty much done everything he needs to do in his career. Dominic should not have lost. As much as I can't stand his fetus face, he should have won. Rhea, of course, that was correct. She did win. And Finn should have won. I don't, to this day, understand WWE's storytelling with the Judgment Day. They want to build the Judgment Day as this badass, very dark, very foreboding force. Yet, loss after loss after loss. Yeah, they've peppered in some wins. But still, when it matters the most, Dominic against Ray, father against son at Mania, wrong. Finn, the demon, which we haven't seen in who knows how long,
2 years
against old man Edge. No, that's wrong. And I'm sorry, we can argue this till we're all blue in the face. This is one of those things where I don't know that my opinion will change. I'm not going to dismiss anyone's argument to the contrary, but it has to be a pretty good argument to, oh, there's a loud truck going by. Vroom, vroom.
Vroom.
There has to be a pretty good argument to get me to change my stance on that because honestly, in my opinion, Finn losing to Edge is a bigger travesty in my mind than Cody losing to Roman. End of speech.
I absolutely agree with you that Balor should have won that match.
Agreed.
Because, well, and I could tell you why. You said like they make them this foreboding, brooding, like dark, evil thing. But the problem is it's done very tongue in cheek. It's done where you can't help but look at they're treating them like the goth kids that actually think they're vampires. Like that's what they're doing. Like they're they come out, they cut the promos, they say the words, they do the thing, they dress the way and everything, but then the whole thing with like Dominic being in prison for 8 hours or whatever the fuck it was. And it's all very tongue in cheek and comedic. And there's just an edge of like comedy there to it. It just is. Like
with Dominic, though, I think it works. Like,
yeah, I know,
okay,
but yeah,
Dominic's the comedy portion of that group. The whole him being in prison, him doing hard time, them making a big deal of it. That's the ha-ha, that's the ha-ha side of that group.
And it's gotten him over like crazy.
I agree.
Dominic is probably more over in that gimmick than Roman Reigns currently is at this moment.
Absolutely.
on his run to being a 1,000-day champion. Dominic's more over. Sure, he catches heat, but he's more over. Finn, Damian, Rhea, they're not the jokes of the group. They're not the funny ha-ha segment. They're the badass, supposed to be ass-kicking, dominant forces, and Dominic is their kid brother that they take care of. Those three should be dominating, running roughshod, just plowing through people, but it doesn't happen.
But that's again why, because they're not like Rhea Ripley gets presented that way.
I disagree.
I disagree as well. I think Finn and Damian get presented that way.
So listen, okay, here, all right. Everyone's like, Edge should have lost. I agree. Absolutely. The demon needs to be protected. If you were going to have Finn lose, he should have just been Judgment Day Finn Balor, the Prince, whatever. He should not have been the demon. The demon should and must be protected at all costs. I don't know if we're past that or not.
Mm-hmm.
So Edge lost an I Quit match with Finn Balor. And, like, yes, there were, circumstances beyond his control, but he still lost. He lost their singles match. The only other time that Edgy Poo got one over on the Judgment Day was whenever him and Ray won in Australia before Dom turned. Otherwise, Edge has been eating shit this entire feud. Came back and got a measure of revenge at Royal Rumble. And then, so, like, I get it, man. But here's the thing, all right? Here's what drives me fucking bonkers. Like, Edge winning is complete storytelling. I hated it because Finn Balor's my guy. Because Finn Balor, the Demon, is something that I've been behind since day one. And even before that, when he was fucking Blitzkrieg, man. The Prince, Devitt was the man. So, like, yeah, absolutely, I wanted fucking Finn to win. I wanted the Demon to win. But Edge winning is complete storytelling. Just like Cody winning would have been. And Ray winning was complete storytelling. Like, yes, absolutely, he should have put his son over. But you know what? Like, him getting one over on his son is completing the story. Excuse me. Triple H says the story goes on forever. Well, you know what? Like, you can end chapters on a high note too. Ray winning was the good guy getting the upper hand, as he should have. Edge winning was the good guy getting the upper hand, as he should have. Roman winning was the bad guy leaving with the upper hand. That's what drives me bonkers. Sammy and Kevin winning was great storytelling. The good guy... I get it. I absolutely get it.
We had the good guy winning. We had the good guys winning night one, and we even said, we need night two. We need some of the bad guys to go over.
And, like, I get it. But, like, WrestleMania traditionally is a show where the faces go over. It is not very often that a heel goes over in the main event. Roman Reigns has done it
twice, 3 times now.
More times than I care to count. He beat The Undertaker. He was absolutely the heel in that match. He beat Lesnar. I think that he was probably the heel in that match. He beat Edge and Bryan. He was the heel in that match. And now this one. So that's 4 at the very least that I can conjure off of the top of my head. And that's what I'm saying, man. It's so stale that I'm expecting to find a mold on it at any time. But all of that said, sorry, I got a frog in my throat. It does not detract from some of the incredible things we saw at WrestleMania. Like, WrestleMania moments have become a thing now. Like, that's just something that we're not going to be, just like the sign pointing. Like, WrestleMania moments is forever going to be, or at least for the next fucking 20 years, is going to be a thing that we can expect to hear about for 8 weeks. Will so-and-so get their WrestleMania moment this year? And I'll tell you, this WrestleMania was full of them. From fucking Logan Paul coming down on a fucking skyhook to, like, Sammy and Kevin winning. Obviously a big fucking deal. Rhea beating Charlotte. Just so many. The fucking Intercontinental title match, I don't think will ever be topped. I don't think we'll ever see a mid-card title match at WrestleMania ever go as hard as that.
That was some big meaty men slapping meat.
They showed... I saw a graphic somewhere. I don't know if it was like a WWE official or not, where, like, there was something like 100 or so shots to the chest between the 3 of them. And, like, Sheamus ate the least and gave the most, and he still lost. That was kind of a difficult result as well. I honestly think with that match, that was really the one match that I was like, you know what? Fuck it. let's see what happens. Like, McIntyre wins, all right. Let's give him an honest to God run with a big mid card title. Sheamus wins, awesome. He gets his fucking final piece of the puzzle in the biggest moment of his career. Gunther wins, awesome, great. He continues his path of dominance. I have no doubt he's beating the Honky Tonk Man's record now.
Yeah, what was the Honky Tonk Man's record?
It's 4 or something.
Yeah, it's not as long as you think.
It's not. But that's where the whole Roman thing has me nervous. Because, again, I saw a post that was equating Roman's current run with past champions. Things like Bruno's first run, Backlund's run, 6 years worth of title shots. Everybody's fixated on this 1,000-day thing. Let's get Roman to 1,000 days. That's a pretty fucking arbitrary number, and I understand that it's a pretty number. Once you have held the title for 1,000 days, no one can take it away from you. But you know what? 960 whatever ain't that bad either. And it's not like somebody's gonna put an asterisk next to it and say, "Oh well, it wasn't 1,000." No, you fucking pud. It was 960. Big fucking whoop. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss, and I've been hoping that one of these big Triple H announcements would be him saying, "We're going to get rid of the Universal title and introduce X." Or
never gonna happen now.
I just
Never gonna happen now.
Still could
What
after
else?
the fact. Once
What
Roman
else?
drops them.
It has nothing to do with Roman.
What else is there to do?
Nothing.
Well-
Who else?
There really isn't.
Who else can Roman beat? He's beaten Lesnar. He's beaten Rollins.
Triple H.
He's beaten Cody. Triple H is retired. He's never wrestling again.
So many wrestlers have their retirement stick. Oh man.
All right, so many wrestlers don't have fucking heart attacks at Gorilla.
I'm also being facetious. Triple H
I
seems
know
like
you
the type
are.
of guy. Well, no, but
Unless my
What-
point remains, what else can Roman do? Who else can Roman Reigns beat? Unless they made
Forbidden Door
a
shit.
U-turn. All right.
No, not gonna happen now.
Never gonna fucking happen. As long as Vince McMahon and that stupid fucking mustache on his stupid fucking
You sound like
bandolier wearing fucking face.
Beef. You
has-
sound like you're about to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as he has breath in his fucking life, or fucking oxygen tanks hook up to his head in a fucking virtual reality network, which I'm sure is going to happen. As long as Vince McMahon is anywhere near the WWE, Roman Reigns will not set foot one into anything forbidden. Anything, ever.
No.
Ever. Because he's in Vince's eyes,
Other way around, man.
he's the biggest star they've made.
Other way around. Also,
Either way, when you start to mention Roman and the Forbidden Door, he's not going to lose. With Vince being there, and now for all reports that I've seen, weaseling his way back into more and more creative control. Which, look, I called it. I said by SummerSlam. He's back. He's involved in creative again. He's not.
Reportedly, he's not a SmackDown tonight.
which is good.
As I understood, he looked over creative, made a couple minor changes. Nothing big was changed. If he's as long as he's not fucking sitting gorilla every single show, I think we're okay. Because honestly, listen, Vince was never not in control. You can say that as but he was never gone. Triple H is his fucking son-in-law. Vince McMahon was never gone. Everything that happened passed through him.
I will counter you with that and say we have talked, all four of us, ad nauseum about how much different things have been once Vince McMahon got caught paying people off from having his dick in him and left. We have commented on that, how much better things have been. if Vince truly was always still in charge, there may have been a slight difference, but it wouldn't have been as big as we noticed.
I'll counter that with this. If Vince McMahon was as involved in WrestleMania as we think, as we hope that he wasn't, the name El Generico would have never been mentioned. Sammy and Kevin never would have worn those fucking PWG tights. Like, I think it's somewhere in the middle. And God help me, I think I actually believe what he's saying.
See, I don't though. You read the reports about what happened on Monday Night Raw.
Where he just fucking walked up, right? No,
I've read reports from reliable sources. I can't remember which ones they were, but there weren't like those clickbait things. It was Sean Ross Sapp or some of those other people, Fightful. I don't fucking know, but they even reported that Monday Night Raw, Vince showed up and pretty much changed the whole script.
Mm-hmm.
Morale was at an all-time low on Monday Night Raw. Wrestlers are already talking about walking out.
And what about the awkward Seth Rollins segment?
And per Fightful today, with Vince McMahon not being active today, morale is back up. I hear what you're saying.
He's not going to stay away, though. Like, you're out of touch. If you think that Vince, in his statement where he says, I'm going to stay out of the weeds, and I'm going to be on there for a high level and blah, blah, blah. Fuck, Beef. You're smarter than that. You know darn well that's not going to happen.
But here's the thing. I think if he was going to insert himself, he'd be there tonight.
Maybe. Or maybe he's just coming back sporadically to ease people back into the way things used to be. Why on earth would he show up at Monday Night Raw, flip the script, and then go, nah, I've had my fill for this week. I'm going to go ahead and go home.
But then why would he not flip the script? But why would he not flip? So you're insinuating that he's letting SmackDown be run by the inmates, as it were,
for this week.
Right, but this week, it's not like these shows exist in a microcosm. Like, they're all connected.
Yeah. So okay, I mean, same counterpoint argument. Why did he show up at Monday Night Raw and take complete control and flip the entire script?
So what happens, because it's the Raw after Mania, quite frankly. So what happens if Vince isn't at Raw next week? What happens if we don't see or hear about Vince again until Backlash? What happens if we don't hear or see about Vince again until SummerSlam?
Then I will be shocked and the world will be all the better for it. But I just don't think it's going to happen, man. Like, if that were going to happen, he would have just stayed out of it altogether. He wouldn't have gone back and even mentioned creative. He would have just let it go. If he has no intention on coming back and inserting himself and changing things, Monday night would not have happened. If Triple H had his run of things at WrestleMania, why on earth would Vince come back for the Monday after and insert himself and change everything up?
Yeah, but this isn't a Vince oligarchy anymore. Like, Vince doesn't run WWE anymore.
He's still the head honcho, though.
No, Ari Gold is the head honcho.
Yeah, he's the head honcho business-wise.
Right, but if the business starts tanking, and if ratings start going down, who do you? They too are smart business people. When they see that the buzz is big, and that ratings are on an uptick, and that views for the premium live events are an uptick, which we need to keep an eye on, by the way. If they see that start to go the other way, and the common denominator is Vince McMahon, they're going to do what any good fucking boss should. And that is avoid falling on the sword by making your lackey do it. And so they'll say, Vince, it's been a good run. We gave you $9.3 billion, which is like 100 million times more than what you paid for this company. Don't let the Lord don't let the fucking door hit you where the good Lord split you. Like
Yeah, but that's going to take time. That's going to take time to do. And again, Vince has his money already. He's going to exert his power for as long as he absolutely can.
I don't think Endeavor will be patient. I think if things start to turn and go sideways, I don't see them being patient. I see them putting a moratorium on it and saying, hey, like, if it starts going because again, man, like, I'm trying to be more positive.
No, and I understand that. But, like, again, we talked about this ad nauseum, too. When COVID hit, we all were still complaining about the product we were watching. But Vince stayed relevant. He stayed on TV. He kept his company afloat. And for all those years that we complained about WWE and Vince McMahon, most of the time, they were beating AEW in the ratings. So again, we complained about what we saw. We complained about the product. But people were still buying merch. People were still tuning in and viewing it. It never went downhill to the point where it was like, oh, AEW is starting to creep up. AEW is creeping up. AEW's beating them. They're beating them. They're beating them. They're beating them. That was not happening. So this whole like Endeavor thing, like, they're going to get rid of Vince if things start to go sideways. It hadn't even gotten to that point over the past however many years. We complained about it.
But ratings, I don't think, are the whole story, though. That's the thing, man.
What is it then? What's going to do it?
I mean, fucking social media interacts, man. For example, and I'll throw this out there. The Monday after Raw, or the Raw after Mania Monday.
Mm-hmm.
This year is the lowest rated Raw in the history of Cage Match, which is like the source for, like, it's your IMDb for wrestling, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, absolutely, like, I'm sure a good part of that is cancel culture, hitting, oh, Vince McMahon's back, let's get it. But I mean, it was a pretty bad show. Like, all things considered, it was a pretty bad show.
Yeah, like the beginning was good, the end was good, everything in between was
I think the end was shit. I think the end was shit. I hated the Lesnar Cody thing. I hated it.
Well, real quick, if I can interject something real quick. Another thing that I had mentioned to Ransom, in regards to the whole, why Cody didn't win, blah blah blah, and this kind of ties into the Lesnar thing. 2 words: hard times.
I get it, and I don't know, man.
And again, I'm not. No, we're never gonna know whether it was the right call or not until it's already hindsight. But we kind of started talking about the Endeavor stuff. Maybe that's something we should pick up on the next episode. We can talk a little bit more about this whole sale to Endeavor and some shit that's going on in AEW. What do you think?
Poot.
What?
Say the damn words.
Burrito?
Say the damn words.
You're going to be okay. Say the fucking words.
Nope. Something different.
Flobbing. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
It's